The red neon lights come on, swinging doors slam, and inside you can hear the taste of grilled food, glasses clinking, and families sharing a moment together. A scent of childhood, Sunday meals, rare meat, and perfectly crispy fries. Almost everyone in France has already been to Hippopotamus. It's normal, they're everywhere. Over 300 restaurants have opened since its creation, serving millions and building a brand lasting over 50 years. Everything seemed perfect. The dining rooms were full, the grills were smoking, the brand was shining, but behind the red lights, the fire went out. In a few years, Hippopotamus saw one of the worst declines in French dining. The most incredible part is it was a kitchen detail invented 50 years earlier that no one noticed. Who is going to save Hippopotamus when everything is falling apart? But then, how did this simple Parisian restaurant from the 60s become a must-visit? How did a brand that posted a loss of more than 20 million euros in 2018 manage to make a comeback worthy of Barcelona against Paris Saint-Germain, and to regain a level of growth that would make every chief executive officer in the Coalition Assistée en Continu 40 jealous? Hey Team Mindset, I hope you're doing well. Today, following your requests, during our analysis of the history of Buffalo Grill and Flunch, we're going to dive into the story of a restaurant that came close to dying, to return stronger. We'll see how a simple idea built an empire, the strategic mistakes that almost destroyed everything, and the radical decision made in a hurry that reignited the flame. As always, we'll end with the business mindset lesson. What can you learn from this story? Sit down at the table and let me tell you how it all really started. Let's go. Imagine yourself in Paris at the end of the 1960s. The roar of cars, a sidewalk on the Avenue des Champs-Élysées, the neon lights of the Lido shining, and right next to it, in contrast, a small sign with dim lighting. Hippopotamus. Inside, the smell of grilled meat mixes with the sound of conversations. You can hear the rib steaks sizzling on the grill, the fries plunging into the oil, and this is where it all began. With a man, Christian Guignard, who grew up in post-war France where eating at a restaurant was still a luxury. At a very young age, he worked at entry-level restaurant jobs like dishwasher, waiter, or kitchen assistant. He loves these vibrant places where people gather and connect. He goes not for the white tablecloths or fine wines, but for the human energy behind every service. In the 1960s, France is changing with a rising middle class and shifting consumer habits, which Christian notices. A new way of eating out needs to be invented. Not a bourgeois table reserved for the elite, but a welcoming, lively, and affordable place where everyone can enjoy a good piece of meat without breaking the bank. So, he decides to create his own restaurant. And for the name, he wants something that makes people smile, something memorable. A word that children would remember just as well as adults. Hippopotamus. At the time, it wasn't a chain, it was just a single restaurant in the heart of the 8th arrondissement. But even then, it attracted everyone. Tourists, Parisians, artists, and night owls. Because at a time when French gastronomy was very traditional, Guignard dared to try something from the United States. The French-style steakhouse, simple, generous, and laid back. Here it's not about béarnaise sauce or foie gras, but about hearty grilled meats, quick service, and a welcoming vibe. It's all about enjoyment, with such early success that customers were even turned away at the door. A hippopotamus is just born, yet the idea of an empire is already heating up. In the 1980s, 40 years after World War II, and just a few years after the hippie movement, people were happy, they wanted to enjoy life and the consumer society. Hypermarkets are thriving, parking lots are packed with cars, and families spend weekends shopping at the new mall and eating at the restaurant. I know it sounds wild compared to France in 2025, but it was a joyful, carefree time when anything seemed possible. It was also a time before the state began selling its crown jewels. As I explained to you in a recent video, the French wanted to treat themselves without breaking the bank, to eat out, to have a good time. The restaurant industry is about to reinvent itself, with themed chains like Buffalo Grill emerging, as mentioned in another video. Then taking customers on a journey to the far west, Flunch makes self-service almost fun, and Hippopotamus brings that unique French-style grill taste. Simple, friendly, and generous. It's the era of hearty dishes, red tablecloths, illustrated menus, and servers who know the regulars by their first name. Dining will become an experience, not just a meal. Our dear Christian. The founder is going to sell the brand to the Flow Group, which is owned by Jean-Paul Boucher, another giant in the restaurant business, who already owns Maître Conter's Tavern and Bistro Romain. Look at that. Maybe a video idea if you're interested. The deal is strategic. Boucher has the resources, Guignard has the concept. Hippopotamus became the main force behind the Flow Group from 1990 to 2000. The number of restaurants will go from 15 to nearly 100. And if you're wondering how, it's pretty simple. This rapid growth is made possible by the aggressive development of its franchise network. The model is clear. Franchisee investment will quickly grow profitable outlets. Each opening will cost 1 to 1.5 million euros, and the average ticket per customer, which was previously around 12 to 15 euros, will rise to 22 euros. The restaurants are recognizable: red, black, and meat at the center of the menu. A well-oiled model, 150 seats, 25 employees per establishment, and an average profitability of 12%. Yes, for those wondering, 12% is significant. The average profitability rate is usually between 3 and 8%. Reaching 10% is already an excellent performance. The brand will be exported abroad for the first time. In 2000, Hippopotamus will open in Istanbul, Morocco, Switzerland, and Ivory Coast. But as growth continues, initial criticism emerges. Customers say everything looks identical. Same decor, dish, and music. I find this criticism unjustified, since McDonald's is the same worldwide and doesn't bother anyone. In my opinion, the real reason is that the grill brasserie market is just becoming saturated. Buffalo Grill, La Boucherie, Courtepaille, which we also talk about in another video. Clearly, the competition is becoming fierce. Margins are going to start collapsing, and to keep growing, you have to reinvent yourself. And that's exactly what they're going to try to do, but at a price that's going to be much higher than expected. The once smooth machine is now creaking. The Flow Group, which bought Hippopotamus, is losing momentum. Sales are going to drop by 10% per year, and debts are piling up. Times have changed. The French eat differently now. Fast food has taken over. To protect its brand, Hippopotamus will launch a huge project: the new concept grill, a full restaurant renovation plan. New logo, color, and experience. The restaurants are getting more modern. Light wood, warm lighting, open kitchen. We want warmth, a show, fire visible from the dining room. The investments are huge. More than 10 million euros have been injected to renovate the first establishments. Test. We're updating the menu with French meat, charcoal grilling, premium burgers, and a vegetarian option. To appeal to Gen Z, the teams are encouraged to highlight the brand's story to customers, like a legend of the grill. But meanwhile, the Flow Group is sinking. The empire is staggering under the weight of its debts. The numbers are actually pretty scary. More than 150 million euros in cumulative losses. Costs are skyrocketing, margins are shrinking, restaurants are closing one after another, banks are pulling out, and investors are getting wary. In the headquarters halls, silence. What was supposed to be a symbol of popular French dining is becoming a giant with feet of clay. Amid the storm, Hippopotamus realizes they must change captains to save the Titanic. At that moment, an unexpected player appears. The Bertrand Group, owner of Burger King, plans to buy Hippopotamus. A new beginning starts, but the storm isn't over. In fact, Hippopotamus may nearly disappear. Although the new concept grill project was started by the previous owner, the red signs are disappearing one by one. The places that once turned people away are now silent, with empty booths and closed shutters. Friendly meals of the past will be replaced by cold, half-empty dining rooms. Numbers will collapse. Between 2018 and 2020, Hippopotamus lost nearly 25% of its customers. As a result, closures followed one after another. No fewer than 40 restaurants will disappear from the network. The franchisees, for their part, lose out. They argue it's too costly to renovate and strays from the original intent. A former manager put it simply: "We tried to modernize but lost our soul. Customers no longer recognize Hippo." And then, as if that wasn't enough, you can guess it. The 2020 pandemic hit like an anvil. Restaurants closed, no cash flow, unpaid rent. Even the Bertrand Group, which was so financially solid, is struggling to hold on. In the 8th district of Paris, at the headquarters, they're looking for a survival plan. The managers are going to analyze the numbers, the forecasts, the monthly reports. Every line in their financial spreadsheet is a warning sign. Cash flow will collapse. Sales are flat and margins are too low. And it's this tense atmosphere that will push Olivier Bertrand, the founder of the group, to make a radical decision. He knows saving Hippopotamus means acting fast, making tough choices, and returning to the brand's strengths. The goal is simple: cut costs, boost service, and focus on high-potential restaurants. But behind these words that sound like economists talk about making tough cuts, there's a real challenge ahead. Management will review menus, streamline offerings, reorganize teams, and negotiate rents. Every decision counts, and every saving helps a business. We're testing protocols, tightening margins, and measuring all. From meat preparation to fast service, the idea is no longer to shine, but to hold on, to put out the fire before it consumes everything. And above all, management is going to decide on a 182-degree turn. Return to the grill's DNA and focus on an innovative cooking system, more economical, more precise, which is able to recreate the flame and the taste of charcoal without sacrificing performance. A system that Christian, I don't know if you remember him, the founder, had imagined 50 years earlier. And that's where the rebirth begins. In a brand new Hippopotamus restaurant, the chef is preparing a rib steak. In front of him lies the secret of renewal, the charcoal oven with its renowned vents. Marvel, yes, like the comics, with a high-performance grill that combines traditional cooking and optimized energy management. The idea appears to have originated from Tony Stark, and this is the modern version of Christian's 1970s prototype. A visionary. This oven cooks faster, makes meat more tender, produces less smoke, improves table turnover, ensures consistent quality, and saves 20% energy. With the Bertrand Group, Hippopotamus will adopt a much clearer strategy. Restaurants focused on large commercial areas. By the way, my favorite is the one at Aperdieu in Lyon, a French-style steakhouse grill concept that attracts families and young professionals. 6 years later, the brand will rise from its ashes. Between 2018 and 2024, Hippopotamus went from over 20 million euros in losses to renewed growth. With branded sales now exceeding 150 million euros, the brand has cut its network from about 130 restaurants before the crisis to just over 100 today. There are fewer of them, but they are much more efficient, better managed, and most importantly, newly profitable. Hippopotamus is regaining its identity as a simple, welcoming place where meat is king. Customers return out of curiosity or nostalgia. Younger generations view it as a French-style steakhouse, while older ones find memories in a lost atmosphere. Gradually, the fire will return, less dramatic but steadier and more controlled. In the end, the story of Hippopotamus is the story of many companies and many of us. A simple idea grows into an empire, loses its strength, and must be rebuilt. Here's another lesson. Standardizing isn't the same as copying. As society becomes more automated and human contact declines, people still need income. A familiar yet lively place. Unlike Court Pie, another legend of the French grill, which unfortunately had a very different fate from Hippopotamus. After a strange mistake, as shown in the video under 501,